Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we got 10 NBA teams, super teams. Big difference, man. You can have NBA teams, you can have super bitch-ass teams out there too. That failed miserably. Video by Austin Sweats. You know, teams that were assembled for whatever reason, and just like they played lackluster, they didn't work out nicely together. You know, loud reasons for that, man. So, yeah, let's check it out.
Super teams. When a team in one way or another accumulates 4 to 5 star players, that instantly makes them favorites to win a championship that year. They usually come together when a team already has a core of a few all-star level players.
What's the definition of success, though? You know?
But for some reason or another, they rarely ever work out. And there's a lot more failed super teams in league history than successful.
Chemistry.
So we're looking
knowing
at
your role
today. And to get them out of the way early on, we can start with 2 of the more popular ones with the...
I'm gonna say straight up, man, I'm gonna try not to interrupt too much here, but, you know, try running a company with 4 CEOs. Ain't gonna work out, man. Ain't gonna work out.
Brooklyn Nets. So the Nets drafted
washed up players.
2008, signed Darren Williams in 2010, brought in Joe Johnson in 2012, and when they traded all
Joe
of
was
their
nice.
and draft picks in 2013 for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they expected themselves to be like the Warriors after signing KD, but they finished with a worse record than they had before they made the blockbuster trade. 49-33 the season before, and 44-38 after.
Big yikes.
I mean, when they first made the move,
they look worse with Kyrie too.
But I mean, KG and Pierce
opposed to
were
D'Lo.
only 36-37 at the time, but maybe they'd be able to be the leaders of the team while the young stars took over most of the actual work. But nope, the Toronto Raptors took them to Game 7 in the first round.
That's because they tried taking shortcuts too much.
The Miami Heat. Brook Lopez led
if
the
something
defense
works,
when he was
roll with it.
healthy,
Look at Toronto.
but on offense, it was like there were 5 separate stars, and none of them ever stepped up and took control as a leader. There was 0 team chemistry, and it was like 5 separate players playing against the other team. And it was so bad that Kevin Garnett was traded the next season, while Paul Pierce flat out left and signed with the Wizards.
And the Celtics signed drafted Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and I think Kuzma was also the draft pick. And probably some other good players I'm not thinking of.
So all of this was given up for one.
Oh my god.
But seeing where the Brooklyn Nets are now, I guess we can't complain. Then we have the 2012 Lakers.
Or can we?
And this was another team hoping to have that KD to the
haven't seen nothing yet.
Feel to it, but they didn't. LA missed out on CP3, so they got Steve Nash and Dwight Howard the next year to pair up with their championship core of Kobe, Artest, and Pau Gasol. And honestly, at first, this team did have that KD Warriors feel to it. They got a prime Dwight Howard straight out of Orlando, and Steve
Nash had back issues.
Phoenix, but I don't even know where to start with their problems.
Horrible back
Kobe
issues.
And Dwight never got along, plus he was coming off of back surgery and battled injuries for most of the season, and so did Steve. Well, he also didn't really ever find his fit on the team. So the team got off to a 15-21 start.
Yeah, that's just like
ending,
something ain't working.
Better, but Kobe was doing everything that he could to get them into the playoffs. At 34, he was nearly leading the league in minutes per game with 38.6, and was in the middle of playing over 40 minutes a game for the past 7 games when he tore his Achilles in the regular season, leaving Dwight Howard to lead the way into the postseason, where he only averaged 17 a game and got swept by the Spurs in the first round.
That was kind of the fall off of Dwight, wasn't it?
Wasn't the same player. Kobe wasn't ever the same after his injury. Ron Artest left for the Knicks. Gasol eventually got traded, and Dwight Howard left for the Rockets. And that wasn't the first super team Kobe was a part of, because 2003 was his first. And if you thought KD was a snake for joining the 73-9 Warriors for a guaranteed championship...
Yeah, but even like these super... Because I know one he's going to be talking about. He's going to be talking about like Karl Malone, like Gary Payton. All those guys, it's like... I don't know if I like attaching the word super team, you know, to guys that are no longer the same players, because they were a lot older and they were way beyond their prime and stuff, you know?
What Karl Malone and Gary Payton did was almost just as bad, because they both missed out on championships all of their careers, mainly due to Michael Jordan's dominance. So in a final effort to win one, in Malone's
ring chasing
and late in Payton's career, they decided to join Shaq, Kobe, and the Lakers, who had just three-peated. Now, it might not necessarily have been a super team because Gary was 35 and Karl...
Yeah, it's not a KD move. They're ring chasing.
About 14 points a game in the regular season.
Late in the career.
It's just the idea of having both men on the team in late game situations, with all of their years of experience, really added to the team's credibility. So they eventually finished with the 3rd best record in the league, pretty convincingly made it to the NBA Finals, then infamously lost 4 games to the Detroit Pistons.
Yes, sir.
And it didn't help that these two men only averaged numbers in 30.
All we got going for us the 2004 Pistons.
As a matter of fact, nobody else on the team even averaged over 6 points a game during the 5 games they played the Pistons. So I mean,
that defense clamped
like
up.
A super team to start the season, but by the end of it, it couldn't have been any further from it. And something similar happened with the 1995 Houston Rockets. At this point, Michael Jordan had retired for the first time. Hakeem had led the Rockets to a championship in 1994.
Wait, who joined then?
Clyde Drexler, still in his prime, wanted to be on a contender, so he got traded to the Rockets in 95.
Okay.
They won their second consecutive title. Then a 33-year-old Charles Barkley was also traded to the Rockets
Yo.
at the start of the 1996
Low-key ring chase.
Things looked great. Rockets now had an insanely dominant trio on paper, and things started out that way with them going 21-2.
Damn, man.
Year, looking like serious threats. But injuries that bothered Clyde and Barkley all season long really slowed them down. So they finished with a 57-25.
When did Charles Barkley retire? How old was he?
Most of the work through the playoffs until they got to the Utah Jazz, where Stockton and Malone took down the potential super team. And that was their one chance, because after that things really fell apart, and the team along with these three,
yeah, the return of MJ
at that same level again.
Yeah, one chance, guys.
These teams, but they didn't mess up the Oklahoma City Thunder's super team, who, as we all know, had 3 future league MVP.
This to me is, see, this is not a super team to me, guys. Because, like, Serge was fine, but Russell Westbrook was still, still coming into his own. He was still a good player. James Harden was a 6-man. And then Kevin Durant, of course, was a superstar and everything. But I don't consider this a super team, It's just like, it's a whole bunch of just, like, you got, like, a garden, and there's, like, seeds. And, like, Durant was a sunflower. James Harden was, like, a weed. And then his beard grew. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know.
Blocker in the NBA by
don't
far
ask.
At that time, and a pretty good supporting cast.
You know if you know, man. You know if you know. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fault. I mean, these 4 guys all only played 3 seasons together, and were in their very early 20s when they did it. And they made the NBA Finals in their last season together, so you couldn't really have asked for more from them. But we can say that
except
this
that
was
ring.
A failed super team because the Thunder organization failed to keep them together. We can also say it was possibly a coaching issue here, because I mean, they played Harden as a 6-man, and the very season after he gets traded, he averages 26 points a game. So they also
he wouldn't have done that with KD and Russell.
Using him right. And for the rest of NBA,
he do it with Russell though, but not KD.
OKC Thunder will forever be one of the biggest missed opportunities that a team has ever had. I mean, honestly, there's no telling how good they would have been if they had stayed together. But for now, like I said, we can say that the
Kevin Martin was the GOAT though.
Failed super team.
Can't deny that.
Another young super team that ended up failing was the 1995 Orlando Magic, who had an amazing starting 5 with a young Penny Hardaway, Nick Anderson, Donald Royal, prime Horace Grant, Shaq, and guys like Dennis Scott and Brian Shaw.
Yeah, was this the free throw?
And this was by far the best iteration of Shaq
30 for 30?
Magic teams. They finished with a 57-25 record, beat Michael Jordan in the Bulls in the playoffs in 95, beat Reggie Miller in the Pacers the next series, and they were looking like potential NBA champions at this point, and they were in the finals. Only 1 step away from that championship. The only thing they were missing though was experience, something that the other member of that 95 finals had, because they were playing Hakeem Olajuwon and the Rockets, where Hakeem outplayed Shaq.
Bro, look how thick damn Shaq is compared to Hakeem.
4-0. Then the next year the team was even better in the regular season, but eventually got swept by the Bulls. And back-to-back sweeps definitely makes this a failed super team, and makes people forget just how good this team was because of it. And after that last sweep was when Shaq got traded, so the team was broken up just like that.
He's like, I'm done.
Then this next one isn't
done
really
with the Magic, going Hollywood.
Failed super teams, but seeing how everything turned out, I think we can throw it in here and officially say that the Lob City Clippers were a failed super team. I mean, I know you wouldn't usually think of this team as a super team.
I don't. I really don't.
These guys, and think about it, they had arguably the best point guard in the league at the time in his prime, a top 2 power forward in the league in what turns out to have been his prime, a dominant center on both ends, a Hall of Fame level coach, the 6th man of the year, along with a great shooter in Redick and a roster.
See, to me, like, that's not a super team. That's a very well constructed team. But the super team, I'm just, I get what he's saying. I suppose.
And this team could never make it out of the second round.
They were always a small forward away.
I don't think I ever saw this as a real championship level squad, but looking back and seeing how they never even made a conference finals right away makes me think that they underperformed. Now for the next team, I don't know.
A lot of injuries for Griffin too.
The 2001 and 2 Sacramento
Yo, Peja.
A failed super
C
team,
Webb.
but like the Clippers, just for how things turned out, we're gonna include them. They had a 5 of Mike Bibby, Doug Christie, Peja Stojakovic, Chris Webber, and Vlade Divac.
C Webb.
Like the best team in the league, even being in the middle of the Lakers 3-peat. And they backed it up too, finishing with the
where's White Chocolate
record that year. And they made it to the Western Conference Finals to face the Lakers. And as most of us know, they should have won the series, made it to the finals, and probably beat the Nets, but their game was rigged. This team was so close to being an actual super team that lived up to the hype, but they just couldn't beat the rest.
Makes you wonder how many other games were rigged in NBA history, and even to this day.
And remained at the top of the conference, but never made it as close to a championship.
Yo, Bobby Jackson, it's my guy right there.
Then there's the
2K GOAT.
2015 and 16 Golden State Warriors. And let me clarify this one. They aren't a failed super team because they had just dominated.
It was a failed season, right?
But they are a super team that had one of the biggest failed seasons, so
there we
they
go.
need to be included. Like I said, in 2015 they had won the championship, Steph won MVP, and all of their stars had really broken out that year. Then by the next season they dominated again with a roster of Steph, Clay, Draymond, Iguodala, Sean Livingston, and more. Steph became first ever unanimous MVP. They finished with the best record.
Damn, that was
ever
just
at
like, that was such a
73-9.
glow up for
They were playing
Curry.
the Cavs in the finals, who really only had Kyrie Irving and LeBron at that point. The Warriors were by far favorites to win it all, but after all of that, with everything in their favor, they somehow lost in Game 7. So in 2015 and 16, the Golden State Warriors were clearly the definition of a failed super team. And now for this last one, I really don't know which is worse. The Warriors losing to the Cavs, or what happened to the 2000.
Oh yeah, they lost to the Warriors. B Diddy.
The 2006 season, the Mavs finished with a
Yeah, this one's good, man.
one of the best in the league. They had a roster of guys like Dirk, Jason Terry, Josh Howard, and Jerry Stackhouse.
Yo, we
and
believe.
they made it to
We
the
believe.
NBA Finals, but lost to D-Wade and the Heat in a series that a lot of people also consider.
No, what am I thinking of? What am I thinking of? What's the We Believe team?
Rigged, and there's a lot of evidence to back that up. But with their mind on getting revenge, they came out the next season even better, and with that same core group of guys to finish with a league best 67-15 record. Dirk won the MVP, and going into the playoffs that year, they looked like favorites to win it all. But they didn't win it all. They actually lost in the first.
Yeah, that's what I was
round to the
thinking of.
seeded Golden State
Damn.
Warriors, led by Baron Davis, Steven Jackson, and Jason Richardson. None of the Mavs stars were injured, and there was no rigged game. The Warriors that year just figured out a game plan to stop Dirk.
That was a nasty Warriors
Capitalized
team,
on their
though.
weaknesses. And I don't know if there's ever
They'd beat
been a more
Curry's Warriors
disappointing season
in a 7 game.
This one. But comment whether you think the 73-9 Warriors losing to the Cavs was more disappointing, or this one for the Mavs. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you.
All right, guys, that's the end of it right there. Definitely some really good ones there. You know, it's all comes down to a matter of what you consider to be a super team. I don't like to toss the term around too much, just because, like, I think there's a lot of good teams and a lot of failed teams, but super teams, that's a special type of thing.